Hey, this is Tiny for GameEnthus.com, and this is the first episode of GameEnthus' Comic and Games. We're going to take a look at Marvel SuperHeroes, originally released for the CPS2 board in 1995, released for Sega Saturn and PlayStation 1 in the fall of 1997, and later repackaged as part of the Marvel vs. Capcom Origins collection for Xbox Live and PSN in September 2012. All the versions of the game include 10 regular characters: Blackheart, Captain America, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man, Juggernaut, Magneto, Psylocke, Shumagorath, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and then 2 unlockables because they're the bosses in the game, Doctor Doom and Thanos. And the Origins and the original Japanese release also included Anita from Darkstalkers. Now, out of that character roster, there are probably 2 names people aren't very familiar with. The first is Blackheart. He's Mephisto's son, and I put son in quotations. He was created from dark energy, and it was for Mephisto to test humanity, and heroes such as Daredevil and Spider-Man, with Blackheart actually appearing first in the Daredevil comics. He was last seen fighting Ghost Rider in Las Vegas, with plans to bring hell to Earth, and Ghost Rider was fighting him with Red Hulk in X-23, and there were symbiotes. It's super convoluted. The other character people aren't going to be very familiar with is Shumagorath. Primarily a Doctor Strange villain. He's Cthulhu-inspired. He's a squid creature. Funny thing is, recently he's actually reappeared in comics in the Infinity story arc, where Blue Marvel kind of flew through his head. So, we'll see what happens. The one thing to note for this game is he appears in his pink and purple design for this game, but after this, in later games, he'll be in his actual green color scheme. So, with this being Capcom's second Marvel fighting game, the first being X-Men Children of the Atom, if you look closely, Psylocke, Magneto, Juggernaut, who's a secret character in Children of the Atom, and Wolverine all share many of the same animations and sprites between both games. But with Marvel superheroes such as Cap and Incredible Hulk and Iron Man being added, it really fleshes out the characters that are available. Now, the story of the game is supposed to be based on the Infinity Gauntlet storyline. It's, let's say, very loosely based. In the comic series, Thanos, the purple guy from the end of Avengers, the credit scene after the end credit scene, we'll call it, is gathering 6 gems: time, space, mind, soul, reality, and power. These essentially allow him to become a god. But like all mortals, he has a weakness, and it's love, actually, which is ironic. But he's not in love with anyone. He's actually in love with the embodiment of death, which in the Marvel Universe is weird because it appears in 2 forms. Either one, it's the Grim Reaper, hey, cloaked figure, skeleton kind of deal. Or 2, it's a woman, a Caucasian woman cloaked in a purple cloak, who kind of is reminiscent of the Raven classic design from Teen Titans. Anyway, so Thanos has to proclaim his love, and he does this through several acts. One being killing off his own flesh and blood, which we'll get into in a minute. But another is he actually kills off half of the living beings in the universe, which is a tough act to follow, so I don't know what he's going to do to impress Death afterwards. But with this, the Marvel heroes went to go engage him, led by Adam Warlock, and they're defeated. The lucky break, though, is after they're defeated, he goes after a bunch of, let's say, celestial beings and gods and whatnot, kills them, and eventually he kills the embodiment of the universe, so his mind ascends to become the universe. And in that time, his alleged granddaughter, Nebula, who is the body and blood that he sacrificed at the beginning of the arc, or acts that he tried to show Death, is able to steal the gauntlet, reverse the statuesque death status that he's given her, and actually reverse the death of half the universe, the celestial gods, all those. And after a brief fight, we see all of those guys able to overpower, and Adam Warlock is actually able to retain the gauntlet. Thanos being defeated. We'll not go into what happens. Now, when you face Thanos, you'll have gathered 5 of the Infinity Gems, and he'll have the 6th. But he'll take the 5 you have on you and now have all 6 of them. And you're facing an uber-powered Thanos. Once you're able to beat him, you'll go through a story arc where, for example, Wolverine will leave the mansion to go find himself because he realizes he had the power of a god, but he didn't know who he was. It's really interesting, and one of the fun parts of the game is looking for some of the cameos. There's Thor, She-Hulk, Scarlet Witch, who appeared in the after credits of Captain America 2. Drax, who's played by the wrestler Batista in the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and Nova, who will also make an appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy. We just don't know. It was rumored Nathan Fillion, but I believe that's already been taken out. So now, the last thing... Well, really, it's not the last, because it doesn't make any sense to me. This actually isn't the last fighting game Capcom will make with Marvel. They'll go on to create the X-Men vs. Street Fighter series, which will be followed by the Marvel SuperHeroes vs. Street Fighter series. And after that, we'll get to the series I think most people are now familiar with, the Marvel vs. Capcom series, starting with Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Heroes, which will appear in arcades in 98 and then home consoles in 99 on the Dreamcast. The other thing to note is that Capcom also created a second game around the Infinity Gauntlet in parallel to this game called War for the Gems, which was released for the Super Nintendo in 1996. It's a side-scroller where you can play as one of 5 characters, all of who appear also in Marvel SuperHeroes. The 5 are Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. And in this version, you actually get to see Adam Warlock, who doesn't make any appearances in the Marvel SuperHeroes fighting. That's really about it. I know this is going to be a quick one, but we're just trying to try out the format. Thanks for checking out GameEnthus' Comic and Games. We're going to keep delivering episodes, so subscribe, like, share with your friends, and Excelsior!